Welcome to Lamy Languages. 100 General Phrases for the IELTS.
Enfoque. Este video contiene 100 frases de uso general para el IELTS. Son expresiones naturales, claras y útiles que te ayudarán a expresar ideas, dar opiniones, comparar, introducir ejemplos y más. Recuerda tomar notas y repetir después de cada pronunciación.
En mi opinión, este es un problema serio.
In my opinion, this is a serious issue. In my opinion, this is a serious issue.
Creo firmemente que.
I strongly believe that. I strongly believe that.
Depende de la situación.
It depends on the situation. It depends on the situation.
Una de las razones principales es.
One of the main reasons is. One of the main reasons is.
Estoy de acuerdo hasta cierto punto.
I agree to some extent. I agree to some extent.
Por otro lado, algunas personas piensan.
On the other hand, some people think. On the other hand, some people think.
Por ejemplo, en muchos países.
For example, in many countries. For example, in many countries.
Esto tiene ventajas y desventajas.
This has both advantages and disadvantages. This has both advantages and disadvantages.
Personalmente, yo preferiría.
Personally, I would prefer. Personally, I would prefer.
No estoy seguro, pero creo que.
I'm not sure, but I think. I'm not sure, but I think.
Para ser honesto, no había pensado en eso antes.
To be honest, I haven't thought about that before. To be honest, I haven't thought about that before.
Este tema es bastante relevante hoy en día.
This topic is quite relevant nowadays. This topic is quite relevant nowadays.
No hay duda de que.
There is no doubt that. There is no doubt that.
Me parece interesante que.
I find it interesting that. I find it interesting that.
Se cree ampliamente que.
It is widely believed that. It is widely believed that.
Hasta donde sé.
As far as I know. As far as I know.
Otro punto importante es.
Another important point is. Another important point is.
Esto puede llevar a consecuencias graves.
This may lead to serious consequences. This may lead to serious consequences.
Nunca había considerado eso antes.
I've never really considered that before. I've never really considered that before.
Es una cuestión de elección personal.
It's a matter of personal choice. It's a matter of personal choice.
Desde mi punto de vista.
From my point of view. From my point of view.
Muchas personas estarían de acuerdo en que.
Many people would agree that. Many people would agree that.
No estoy completamente de acuerdo con esa idea.
I don't completely agree with that idea. I don't completely agree with that idea.
Este tipo de problema es común en la sociedad moderna.
This kind of problem is common in modern society. This kind of problem is common in modern society.
La mejor solución podría ser.
The best solution might be. The best solution might be.
Esa es una pregunta difícil de responder.
That's a difficult question to answer. That's a difficult question to answer.
Supongo que depende de la persona.
I suppose it depends on the person. I suppose it depends on the person.
Hay varios factores que considerar.
There are several factors to consider. There are several factors to consider.
Algunas personas argumentan que.
Some people argue that. Some people argue that.
Estoy completamente en desacuerdo con esa opinión.
I completely disagree with that view. I completely disagree with that view.
Tiendo a pensar que.
I tend to think that. I tend to think that.
Es importante recordar que.
It's important to remember that. It's important to remember that.
En los últimos años, esto se ha vuelto más común.
In recent years, this has become more common. In recent years, this has become more common.
Este problema afecta a muchas personas.
This issue affects many people. This issue affects many people.
Diría que es una tendencia positiva.
I would say it's a positive trend. I would say it's a positive trend.
Creo que debemos mirar el panorama general.
I think we need to look at the bigger picture. I think we need to look at the bigger picture.
Entiendo completamente tu punto, pero.
I completely understand your point, but. I completely understand your point, but.
Esto plantea una pregunta importante.
This raises an important question. This raises an important question.
No siempre es fácil encontrar un equilibrio.
It is not always easy to find a balance. It is not always easy to find a balance.
Me gustaría agregar algo aquí.
I'd like to add something here. I'd like to add something here.
Déjame darte un ejemplo.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example.
He experimentado algo similar.
I've experienced something similar. I've experienced something similar.
Ese es un buen punto.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Entiendo tu punto, pero tengo una opinión diferente.
I see your point, but I have a different opinion. I see your point, but I have a different opinion.
No soy un experto, pero creo que...
I'm not an expert, but I think. I'm not an expert, but I think.
Esta situación es bastante común en mi país.
This situation is quite common in my country. This situation is quite common in my country.
Para ser más específico.
To be more specific. To be more specific.
Como mencioné anteriormente.
As I mentioned earlier. As I mentioned earlier.
Creo que depende de varios factores.
I think it depends on various factors. I think it depends on various factors.
En general, creo que los beneficios superan las desventajas.
Overall, I believe the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. Overall, I believe the benefits outweigh the drawbacks.
Es difícil decirlo con certeza.
It's hard to say for sure. It's hard to say for sure.
Creo que es una cuestión de opinión.
I think it's a matter of opinion. I think it's a matter of opinion.
En mi experiencia, las personas usualmente...
In my experience, people usually... In my experience, people usually...
Este tema se debate con frecuencia.
This topic is often debated. This topic is often debated.
Creo que hay mejores alternativas.
I believe there are better alternatives. I believe there are better alternatives.
Una posible razón es...
One possible reason is... One possible reason is...
Algunos podrían decir lo contrario.
Some might say the opposite. Some might say the opposite.
Las estadísticas muestran claramente que...
The statistics clearly show that. The statistics clearly show that.
No creo que haya una respuesta perfecta.
I don't think there's a perfect answer. I don't think there's a perfect answer.
Deberíamos considerar ambos lados.
We should consider both sides. We should consider both sides.
Esto es algo que nos afecta a todos.
This is something that affects us all. This is something that affects us all.
No he pensado mucho en eso.
I haven't thought much about that. I haven't thought much about that.
Esa es una perspectiva interesante.
That's an interesting perspective. That's an interesting perspective.
En conclusión, es un tema complejo.
In conclusion, it's a complex issue. In conclusion, it's a complex issue.
El problema principal es...
The main problem is. The main problem is.
Creo que esto debería ser una prioridad.
I believe this should be a priority. I believe this should be a priority.
Este no siempre es el caso.
This is not always the case. This is not always the case.
Se cree comúnmente que.
It's commonly believed that. It's commonly believed that.
Sería injusto generalizar.
It would be unfair to generalize. It would be unfair to generalize.
Eso realmente depende del contexto.
That really depends on the context. That really depends on the context.
Diría que eso es bastante improbable.
I'd say that's quite unlikely. I'd say that's quite unlikely.
El punto clave es.
The key point is. The key point is.
Por lo que he visto.
From what I've seen. From what I've seen.
En cierto modo, estoy de acuerdo con eso.
In some ways, I agree with that. In some ways, I agree with that.
Es importante mantener una mente abierta.
It's important to keep an open mind. It's important to keep an open mind.
Sin embargo, eso no siempre es cierto.
That's not always true though. That's not always true though.
Es un tema polémico.
It's a controversial topic. It's a controversial topic.
Yo argumentaría que.
I would argue that. I would argue that.
Hay muchos puntos de vista sobre este tema.
There are many sides to this issue. There are many sides to this issue.
Algunas personas podrían no estar de acuerdo, pero.
Some people might disagree, but. Some people might disagree, but.
Aún no me he decidido.
I haven't made up my mind yet. I haven't made up my mind yet.
Creo que necesitamos ser más conscientes de esto.
I think we need to be more aware of this. I think we need to be more aware of this.
Eso depende de las preferencias personales.
That depends on personal preferences. That depends on personal preferences.
Es difícil sacar una conclusión clara.
It's hard to draw a clear conclusion. It's hard to draw a clear conclusion.
Este es un tema que merece más atención.
This is a topic that deserves more attention. This is a topic that deserves more attention.
Muchas personas dan esto por sentado.
Many people take this for granted. Many people take this for granted.
Esto se ha vuelto cada vez más importante.
This has become increasingly important. This has become increasingly important.
Puedo ver ambos lados del argumento.
I can see both sides of the argument. I can see both sides of the argument.
No es algo en lo que haya pensado profundamente.
It's not something I've thought about deeply. It's not something I've thought about deeply.
Creo que es una opinión razonable.
I think that's a reasonable opinion. I think that's a reasonable opinion.
Es esencial considerar los efectos a largo plazo.
It's essential to consider long-term effects. It's essential to consider long-term effects.
Necesitamos actuar antes de que sea demasiado tarde.
We need to take action before it's too late. We need to take action before it's too late.
Me temo que no sé mucho sobre eso.
I'm afraid I don't know much about that. I'm afraid I don't know much about that.
Eso me sorprende bastante.
That's quite surprising to me. That's quite surprising to me.
No estoy seguro de estar de acuerdo con eso.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Parece lógico pensar que.
It seems logical to think that. It seems logical to think that.
Hay mucho debate en torno a este tema.
There's a lot of debate around this issue. There's a lot of debate around this issue.
Creo que todos podemos estar de acuerdo en que.
I think we can all agree that. I think we can all agree that.
Eso es algo de lo que deberíamos hablar más.
That's something we should talk more about. That's something we should talk more about.
Todo se reduce a la educación.
It all comes down to education. It all comes down to education.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.